Hello learners, welcome to lecture on e-resources and consortia management under the online refresher course ARPIT on emerging trends and technologies in library and information science. Myself Neeraj Chaurasia, I am Deputy Librarian at IIT Delhi Central Library. My topic of today's lecture is electronic resources and consortia management. So, in my lecture I would be covering the points electronic resources, how these are differ from the print resources, various modes of subscription of electronic resources by the libraries. I will be discussing the emergence of library consortia in India, what are the benefits of consortia approach to electronic resource subscription. Based on my experience, I will also be discussing the issues and challenges related to library consortia. Some of the model licenses agreement will also be discussed in my lecture. So, friends, as you all are aware that today we are living in the age of information. Over last one decade, electronic resources has become increasingly substantial component of library collection. This is due to the continuous development of IT and its impact on library collection development policies. Due to the changing demand of users for the pinpointed and exhaustive information within a short time. With the growing popularity of electronic resources, the traditional libraries are gradually migrating from print documents to electronic resources, where providing access to information is considered more important than owning it. This has compelled libraries to rethink about their collection. To maintain the link between the cost and optimum use of these resources is a great challenge for the libraries. The e-publishing of scholarly content has hugely impacted on the role and responsibilities of library professionals. Management of electronic resources has never been an easy task because of changing demand of the users, because the changing formats and subscription models have made management process more complex. Publishers license present useful rights, but also the significant restrictions and responsibilities. So, thorough understanding of licensing language and its impact on access has become critical for the libraries. While making with deals with the publishers, typically they seek to maximize their revenue, whereas libraries typically want to optimize their cost. So, negotiation has become very fundamental part of acquisition process now. When we are subscribing, when we are talking about the electronic resources, this has present many challenges and considerable opportunities also in their acquisition, maintenance and management, which need collaborative efforts of professionals and all other bodies associated with creation, distribution and use of these resources to establish the sound practices and models. Libraries need to gain a good understanding of these dynamics, that is the knowing rights of the libraries, understanding copyright law, understanding license terms and also the pricing models and managing resources once these resources are subscribed. So, friends, how the electronic resources are differ from the print resources? Basically, these are differ from other library material because complexity of licensing agreements, need to set up the access, confusing over pricing models. These are the difference from the print to electronic resources. E-resources mainly covers the e-books, e-journals, e-databases, audiovisual materials, material content. These resources are available through the respective publishers, the aggregators, the vendors, library consortia, and sometimes these are available from more than one platform also to the libraries. What are the modes of subscription of e-resources for different libraries? Libraries are getting the resources from two ways, either they are directly procuring or subscribing the material from the publishers, vendors or some agencies, or the libraries are getting the resources from some consortia. Sometimes they are getting a good number of resources from the consortia. What are the models for the consortia which are working in India? There are different models like open consortia, closed consortia, centrally funded models, shared budget model, national consortia, and there are some other type of consortia also, like some are the subject based consortia, some specific group consortia like ICERS, they are working in a closed group called a specific group consortia. Now, coming to the managing electronic resources through the consortia, how the electronic resources are managed through a library consortia in current scenario. If we see the overall higher education system in India, it is very large and complex. India is the third largest higher education system after the China and United States, which has more than 800 universities, 40,000 affiliated colleges, about 12 lakhs teaching faculty, and more than 2 crores of students, including some 50 lakhs of postgrads and other scholars. If we see the total enrollments, which has increased 2 lakhs in 1947 to about 250 lakhs in 2018-19. So, this is the overall picture of current education system in India. Now, why consortia is required? If you see the educational institution in India, universities and colleges are facing acute shortage of funding to subscribe the international journals. If you see the colleges, most of the colleges they do not have any financial resources, they have very limited number of resources sometime, and they are not subscribing any international journals. Sometimes they are getting some magazine or some Indian journals. So, different library consortia in India have successfully infused a new culture of electronic access to e-journals and databases amongst academic community in institutions and universities. So, consortium certainly benefited the higher education system in India immensely. The consortium efforts lead to increase in productivity of scientific and research output both in quality and quantity. Research productivity of scientists and researchers in beneficiary institutions and universities increase as they are getting more and more electronic resources. Earlier there were no availability of electronic resources, but due to the availability of electronic resources through the consortia, the quality of teaching, research and publications of scientists and research scholars are impacted with accessibility of these resources. Increasing price of resources, publishers and vendors dominated markets, change in demand of the users and monopoly of the publishers. There is no library in a position to fulfill the demand of the users. So, consortia is playing a very vital role in this context. Consortia are formed with an objective to enhance the purchasing power of participating libraries in the present scenario of major financial crunch and escalating cost of the electronic resources. This has led to establishment of many consortia to achieving the substantial saving through combined and coordinated bargains with the publishers. Consortium based subscription to e-journals and fulfill the databases are picking up a good moment in India. If you see the overall emergence of consortia in India, prior to setting up the consortia, access to e-journals was limited to the institutions like CFTI, centrally funded technical institutions like IITs, ISC, IIMs and some of the central universities who were subscribing a few electronic journals, and with the subscription of their print resources sometimes they were getting very limited number of electronic journals also. And after launch of Indus consortium in 2003 and UGC Infonet consortium in 2004, it is found that accessibility of electronic resources increased phenomenally. There are 10 government supported or like government funded consortia initiatives operations till 2015, and which were include the 3 consortia, that was Indus TICT consortium which was funding by the Technical Education Bureau MHRD, and UGC Infonet Digital Library Consortia that was funding by the UGC, and third one was the Enlist program of NME ICT that was also the MHRD consortia. But after these consortia there were another 7 consortia initiatives like NKRC, that is the National Knowledge Resource Consortia which is running by the CSIR, DAE consortia, MCIT consortia, ARMED, DELCON, SERA and DRDO consortia. So, these are the 7 other consortia which were there, and after 2015 there was a recommendation from expert committee to MHRD that we should merge these 3 consortia which were getting the budget from MHRD, that was Indus, UGC Infonet and Enlist. These were merged in 2015 and the new consortia was emerged, that was ESOT Sindhu consortia, and this ESOT Sindhu consortia is now providing the access to electronic resources. More than 20,000 electronic resources are provided to the institutions like CFTIs and the universities, colleges and all, and this is managed by the InfluMNet Center Ahmedabad. All the institutions who were covered in 12B and 2F sections of UGC Act, they are getting the good number of electronic resources from the ESOT Sindhu consortia, and InfluMNet Center act as a nodal agency for implementation, monitoring and execution of entire programs through different committees, and Implement Center coordinates all these activities which are concerned with negotiation, renewal to the electronic resources, and attending the subsequent troubleshooting on behalf of ESO Sindhu Consortia. Now, coming to the benefits, what are the benefits of joining a consortia? What are the benefits of the consortia approach of electronic resources? There are several benefits of the consortia approach. Consortia act as a single window service for large number of institutions to meet their diverse need or diverse requirement. A large number of electronic journals can be accessed through the membership of consortia. Even smaller institutions like small college, they can get a wide range of journals. Libraries can get the deep discount through joint price negotiations with most favorable terms and agreements for a wider range of electronic resources. Even consortia offers better terms and agreements of use, archival access and preservation of subscribed electronic resources, which is not have possible by any of the institutions individually. It helps in effective documents delivery system. Researchers and authors are getting benefits from the consortia because it is possible to get the expand greater potential readership. For publishers, and consortia offers improved income stability, incremental revenue and greater visibility of their product. So, this is the benefit for publishers also. So, all are benefited if the libraries are joining the consortia. Now, coming to the pricing models, there are various pricing models available for the subscription of electronic resources, and if you see various these pricing models, there is no standard pricing policies, there is no standard pricing from the publishers for the electronic resources. So, in that case consortia has to negotiate with the publishers to arrive mutually agreed price and terms conditions. So, different publishers are quoting different kind of prices, different kind of pricing models, they are coming out with different pricing models. Subscription rates depend upon the following factors like the type of institutions, the number of users, sometime duration of subscription. If you have the 3-year agreements, you will get the different pricing, level of use. So, these are the different pricing factors which is always depending on that. There are various pricing models which are giving by the publishers, like sometimes they are giving print plus e-journals, only e-journals, sometimes they are giving list price plus discount. So, and there are so many others pricing models, like it is sometimes pricing is based on the usage, sometimes they are giving the tier based price, and sometimes single location, satellite location, multi location, sometimes they are also giving paper article or collection of articles, number of downloads price, these are based on that aspects. Sometimes the publishers are coming out with the current subscription and access the back volumes up to the particular period, like if you have the current subscription you can get 10 years to 20 years back files also with your current subscription. Accordingly, we have to negotiate with the publishers. Deal with e-journals only, some may give the offer for both e-journals and e-books together, access based sometime on annual subscription or perpetual access also. Now, coming to the library consortia, the library consortium activity is a complex process which involve the wholehearted support and concentrate effort of member libraries, their managements and also the publishers, because it is not possible to run a consortia without cooperation of these 3 or 4 stakeholders. So, there are various issues related to consortia like untrapped access of electronic resources, perpetual access to back volumes, pricing, licensing, copyright and archival solutions also. These need to be strategically addressed to get best out of the consortia. The Central Library IIT Delhi was the headquarter for Indus ICT Consortia, that was the biggest consortia in India sometime in 2003 to 2015. So, I would like to highlight some of the important issues which were involved in managing that Indus consortium at that time, and also these are very relevant with the consortia which are running currently. So, first issue was the identification of electronic resources and following by others like pricing, negotiation, print dependent subscription, taxation issues are there, then archival issues are there, continuity and perpetuity issue is there, access management, usage and usability issue is there, and some of the licensing issues. So, coming to the first one, I would like to discuss some of the important issues which are coming while handling the consortia resources subscription. So, first and foremost issue is the identification of electronic resources. With the limited budget allocated by the funding agencies, one of the greatest issue involved in meet the expectations of the participating members, because every member of the consortia, they have their own requirement and wish list of electronic resources, which is very difficult for the consortia to fulfill. So, it is difficult to consortia to arrive at a consensus over the resources to be subscribed. So, budget is very important to fulfill the requirement of members. In case of budget crunch, this issue become a prominent one. Now, coming to the pricing of resources in consortia, pricing of resources is not fixed in case of printed material. There is no standard practices or processes being followed by the majority of publishers. Different publishers have different pricing policies and models which go on changing from time to time. It is difficult to remain in touch with changing policies and models, which may further vary from publisher to publisher, sometimes vendors to vendors also. Base price quoted by the publishers is sometime they work out for the these pricing for the developed countries, and same price they are quoting for Indian consortia also. So, it is very difficult to consortia to finalize that particular price, and there is a list price concept that is also become now meaningless in this since so many pricing models are available. In general, the price rise per year is 3 to 6% from the publishers, and there is increased price of due to the inflation. Fluctuation in currency impacted the budget in Indian rupees. While making deals with the publishers, typically they maximize their income, whereas libraries or consortia typically strive optimize their cost. In most of the cases, cost of the journals are out of the reach of many our libraries, and only a consortia approach could provide some meaningful solution for that. Now, coming to the print dependent subscription, this is also a very important issue in terms of the consortia, because still there are some of the publishers like Elsevier, Science Direct, Taylor and Francis, and some other publishers, they are still quoting their price dependent of subscription rates of print journals. So, these consortia are facing these kind of problems, and they are trying to negotiate with the publishers without that print subscription. Now, coming to the negotiation plays a very important role in consortia subscription, because consortia has to negotiate the rates and also the license terms and conditions for their members. So, basically publishers want to protect their own interest, which may not suit to the library, and negotiation for subscription to resources, terms and conditions or purchase and legalities involved are done by the negotiation committee. Sometimes what is happening, the committee which consists of expert members, may be the expert of their own subject, but sometimes they are not acquainted with the art of negotiation. So, this may be the problem sometime while negotiating with the resources. Committees do not have any professional negotiators. Moreover, most of the time the committees are negotiating the price of the resources and also the annual increase of rate of subscription, but they are not even discussing or finalizing the terms conditions. So, it is very important, because negotiation cannot be done without negotiating the terms and conditions. Most of the time consortia sign the agreement which is prepared by the publishers without getting terms and conditions vetted legally. So, this is a big problem with the negotiation. And now, coming to the archival issues, there are number of archival issues are there which are involved in management of resources in consortia. Online resources are remotely located, which often remain under the ownership of publishers or vendors. Libraries or consortia, they are not having anything in their hand. Basically, all the electronic resources are available either on the publisher website or publisher servers, and libraries are getting access through those servers. The publishers offer to subscribe electronic resources for the period of subscriptions. Access get terminated as soon as the subscription period is over. Most of the publishers offer access to electronic journals archives for the period of subscription which was paid for free or with fee. So, publishers most often demand a fee for using their access platform for accessing archives after termination of subscription of the resources. So, sometimes they are giving some maintenance, they are writing that you have to pay some maintenance fee or platform fee or license charges. It has to be decided by a consortia whether they want to have the rights, archiving rights with them, or they want to keep this right with the publishers. So, archiving of back files is also a issue while dealing with the consortia subscription. So, this is an area which needs utmost attention of any consortia. Now, coming to the perpetuity and continuity clause. So, the consortium need to subscribe the electronic resources in perpetuity, since journals and databases are published in perpetuity. It is difficult for the consortia to convince to their concerned ministry or funding agencies about the continuation of any initiative. As such, continuation of consortia is perpetuity becomes questionable when they are discussing the issues with their concerned ministry. Now, coming to the taxation issues, there are some issues involved in taxation also while dealing with the consortia. See, TDS issue is the biggest issue now, because the consortia or the libraries will have to deduct the TDS when they are making the payments of purchase of e-books, e-journals, as they are considered as software or electronic data. This has come into effect since 2012, and TDS should be deducted under the section 194J. So, it should be deducted either 10% or 20% as the case may be. Publishers, particularly for the foreign ones, they are resisting the deduction, as it will be both financial and operational nuisance for them. So, this is a big issue for the consortia while dealing with the consortia subscription. Now, coming to the license agreements with the consortia, which the consortia is signing with the publishers. In electronic environment, the libraries typically license or lease access of content, and licensing is a legal process of acquiring usage rights of intellectual property governed by the copyright law, defining the legal commercial relationship between library and publishers. It is a legal document governed by the commercial or contract governed by the commercial law, which is mainly prepared by the content owner, which is also known as the licensor. So, it provides the rights and protect mostly to the owner, but also to the library. The terms and conditions varies amongst various publishers, includes useful rights, but also significant restrictions and responsibilities. So, it contains a number of legal jargons, languages, and which need to be studied before signing. Thorough understanding of license language and its impact on access has become critical for the libraries. These are some of the licenses clause which are the standard clause for all the agreements. So, I will be discussing a important clause of license agreement, that is the governing law or the arbitration clause. Most of the publishers put a clause in the license agreement that is, in case of dispute or litigation will be settled in the courts of their own country. It means, if publisher belongs to Germany, then the court of law will be Germany. So, some are agreed on the reciprocal clause. Arbitration means the court of law of respective countries. At this point of time, one has to deliberate and insist on setting the issues in the court of own country. Body in India for setting the dispute or to arbitration is the International Center for Alternative Dispute Resolution, that is the ICADR in New Delhi. So, we should always try to incorporate this clause in agreement while signing. There are some other issues also, like there is lot of overlapping of journals if you see the aggregator packages. So, while negotiating with the publishers, this point should be keep in mind, and accordingly the rates should be decided. The publishers do not have pro-rate subscription rates. This is a big problem, because whenever any library trying to get the subscription in between of a financial year or academic year, the publishers they not prorate the subscription rates. So, library or the consortia has to pay full subscription for the year. There are different terms and conditions of accessing, downloading and printing of subscribed content also. So, this become a problem for the libraries and the consortia. There is discontinuation of access during this subscription period due to the serial downloading or systematic downloading of articles. There is no clear-cut definition of serial downloading or systematic downloading in the agreement. So, while signing the agreement, we will have to see what is the definition of serial downloading or systematic downloading put up by the publisher. If it is not there, we should try to include this clause in the agreement. Also, the auto renewal clause is very important, because some of the publishers they are putting that the auto renewal will be done after subscription period is over. So, while signing the agreement, we should also try to see this clause accordingly. Now, coming to the economics of electronic resources, there are number of resources subscribed by the consortia and providing to the libraries, different libraries. While dealing with the electronic resources or consortia, this is very important to analyze the economics of electronic resources, the factor that determine the economic viability and the cost effectiveness of subscription of electronic resources. These are the intensity of usage, successful migration from print to electronic resources, and then cost recovery and cost avoidance. These are the things which can be based on the usage of resources. So, return on investment is the measured in terms of the increased usage of resources, which is ultimately reflected in the scientific productivity of an institution. So, this is very important in terms of the intensity of usage. We have to see what is ROI. Usage is one of the most important parameters to judge the effectiveness of electronic resources. The cost recovery, average cost per article are used effectively to judge the cost effectiveness of electronic resources. Intensity of usage of electronic resources essentially be judged in terms of number of articles downloaded by the users or by the members. These factors reflects the intensity and frequency of use of electronic resources. Using these factors, consortia can judge the saving made by its members, because whenever the resources are subscribed by the libraries and the some are getting by the consortia, they will have to see what is ROI, how much investment they have made and what is return after that. Cost recovery is also a very important factor. Cost recovery factor calculated by the multiplying number of articles downloaded with the cost of a single article. If it is purchased directly from the publisher in pay per view model or brought from the document delivery service. Accordingly, to the Association of Learned and Professional Society Publishers, which is also known as ALPSP, surveyed 70% of publishers surveyed offer pay per view or individual articles purchase options. In pay per view model, the cost of articles varies from publishers to publishers. Average cost is about $1.30 per article. Assuming that if the resources were not available through the consortium, the articles downloaded from these resources by the member institutions would have been sourced on ILL or document delivery services at the cost of $15 per article. This average cost of article has been taken from a study conducted by the ARL, that is the academic research libraries. So, now coming to the cost avoidance, on account of lower rate of subscriptions for the members of consortium is calculated in terms of the difference between cost paid by the consortia for member institutions for electronic resources and cost payable by the individual institutions in case the resources were directly subscribed by them. So, the consortium with its collective strength of participating institutions has attracted highly discounted rates of subscription coupled with most favorable terms conditions. In effect, the number of consortium avoid the cost commitments on the lower rate of subscription. Publishers offer 50 to 95% lower rates of subscription to the consortium for member institutions. The rates are further lowest and additional numbers of institutions are added to the consortium. The lower rates of subscription are offered to the consortium from the vendors not only because of combined strength of its members, but also due to the engagements of publishers to learn to enter the Indian markets. Second one is the annual increase in rates of subscription. If you see in general, there is an annual increase of 8 to 10% of subscription rate of electronic resources. However, the consortium negotiate the rates of subscription in price of the resources and fix the price cap within 0 to 5%. Sometime it is 0% also while subscribing the resources for the members. Some of the publishers offer rate of subscription without annual increase of subscription also. So, this is about the cost avoidance, annual increase in rates of subscription if we are getting the resources from consortia. Third one is the average cost of journal subscriptions subscribed in consortia. The consortium provides different access to number of journals to its members institutions. If calculated, the average cost of single journal for which access is available through the consortia, it comes very low. So, average cost of article from consortia comes under the cost avoidance. Third one is the cost per article. Average cost of an article, average cost of article is calculated by dividing the total number of amount paid by the consortium for the member institutions by total number of articles downloaded by the users in all the member institutions. So, this parameter has become used to take the decision on renewing and the continuation or discontinuation, and also the negotiation of pricing of existing resources. So, this is very important while negotiating the resources with the publishers. Now, coming to the cost saving, it is also very important factor. Freedom to drop the subscription, print dependent subscription is depending on the cost saving. Also, the discount on e-only subscription, if you see the consortia, mostly we are subscribing, we are getting the resources in e-form only. So, we are getting highly discounted rates in electronic resources. After dropping the print subscription, libraries can save a lot of budget. Now, what is the impact of access to electronic resources on research output of the institutions? The access to print versus electronic resources is known to make qualitative difference to research learning, staff development, scholarly and R&D activities of an institution. In quantitative terms, this research output of an institution can be measured in terms of number of research articles, citations received by them, patents, research grants, consultancies, research reports, honors and awards, number of research students and placement. This is the overall impact of electronic resources research output of the institutions. Also, the number of publications and citations received by them, by the faculty members, by the scientists, by the researchers can be used most effectively to measure research output of an institution, which in turn reflects impact of resources available to an institution. Now, coming to the model license terms or agreement, there are number of model license agreements are available. Model licensing of live license is there. There are some key issues of electronic collection development which is given by the EFLA, or ESOT Sindhu Consortia has also come out with some of the standard terms and conditions. There is vast amount of professional literature also which is available. Now, coming to some tips on negotiation, these are some of the tips which can be helpful for a individual library and also the consortia while negotiating with the publishers. So, there are major points of negotiation with the publisher. These are the things which we can prepare before the negotiation, like these are the points like coverage, we should see what kind of journals they are offering, subscription rates, then back files, archival of access, then open access policies, trial access and so on. So, these are the points major points which we need to discuss with the publishers while we are negotiating. Before negotiation, we should see some of the important point, like we should always try to deal directly with the publishers instead the vendors and aggregators. Be prepared with all the information required, know which resources you want to need, then know how much budget you are having, how much budget you want to spend on particular resources. We should be very clear about the sustainable pricing, who represent from the library or from the consortium, it should be very clear, plan what to gain, be open but be flexible also, try to understand publishers market standing, values they stand for, also have a trial access and use the data before subscribing, get initial price quote review, check with the other libraries also, get draft copy of license, thoroughly review and identify the issues which are involved there. During the negotiation, there are some important points we should take care of that, like listening carefully, actively, be alert, ask proactive questions, we should communicate clearly, never assume anything, seek clarity, be assertive but not aggressive, take notes, check them frequently and use them often, do not miss out important points, clear up any misunderstanding promptly then and there only, know when to take the break, if not leading, know when to walk away when not in agreement. These are some of the important points which we can keep in mind during the negotiation. When negotiation is not a I win you lose situation, this should be the win-win situation. We should always avoid the oral agreements. We should not avoid, we should discuss all the issues, but it should be also included in the license agreement. Know what you can give up, how much you can spend, plan your negotiation time, duration, people involved, moves, etc. Stay focused on track with your needs, need not in hurry to complete the process. Sign license agreement before ordering. If it is possible, we should sign the agreement before the ordering. Now, coming to the end, consortia issue can be tackled by adopting the right approach and the following the rights procedure with the coordinated approach of member consortia. Collective and logical negotiation with the publishers to get the maximum resources at minimum price is the way to optimize the use of resources. In a developing countries like India, a major portion of education and research are funded by the government. The national consortia is the practical solution, making one payment. Most of the consortia operates as a project given to one of the beneficiary institution using non-plan budget and do not having any adequate financial and technical support to overcome the limitations. A number of resources are common among all the consortia. So, different consortia should come together so that more number of members are benefited in larger national interest. National consortium may be the cost effective mechanism if work out at government level. National consortium would be greatly reduce the duplication of efforts and providing greater purchasing or negotiation power. East South Sindhu consortia is one of the initiative taken by the MHRD after merging these three consortia funded by MHRD. This can be extended with other consortia initiative which are funded by other ministries as well. There is a requirement of single umbrella organization that looks after all the consortia initiative as well as to address the limitations that are common to all the consortia. So, some references are given over there from where I have quoted the text. Now, coming to the acknowledgements, I would like to express my sincere thanks to authors of various internet sources which are used to prepare my presentation. Wherever possible, the references have been given, and however, any omission is duly regretted. The presentation is mainly prepared to create an awareness among LIS professionals on this topic. So, thank you very much. This is my email ID neerajkc@library.iitd.ac.in. So, for further queries you can write to me. Thank you very much.